Well, hey there, everybody. It's your boy, Mr. Perry. And if you were unable to be in class for this demonstration, I figured it was probably worth your time for me to go ahead and do a quick video and demonstrate what it was we did. So my intention was in class today, I wanted to demonstrate two different create tasks that were designed to help people solve specific problems. And I also wanted to keep them very simple. I wanted to show you basically what are some really easy kind of basic level problem or programs that could potentially score all 6 points on our create task rubric. So what I have here is for a simple create task number one. We have a trivia game, which is designed to test somebody's knowledge about staying safe while visiting, spring break hotspots. So obviously, when we go on spring break, there's always an increased risk for risky behaviors and injury and all kinds of things. So the way this program works is it is designed to ask 3 questions about spring break related stuff. And then it says if the user gets 1 or 2 correct, they will get that number of what are called regular prizes. If they get all 3 correct, then they should get 3 grand prizes. So right now, when you open this program code, it will ask questions and you should be able to type stuff in, and it says, all right, sorry, the answer was alcohol. Be sure to not mix partying and swimming. On average, how many sunburns does it take to double a person's risk of skin cancer? I'm going to guess a dozen. Nope, it just takes 5 sunburns to potentially double a person's risk of melanoma. And then what system is the best policy to follow to stay safe while going out during spring break? Obviously, we all know it's the buddy system. And you are right. Okay, so right now, this program asks questions and tells us whether or not the answer is correct or what we answered was correct. However, so in terms of what the create task needs, we do have input and output. I can type stuff in and it will respond, but we don't have a list anywhere. And I also don't see a function being defined anywhere. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and define a function. And in that function, we are going to use actually multiple lists. And we're going to go ahead and finish this so that it is in good shape to score all of the points for the create task. Now, I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to click on this link, click fork, and then click fork again, and then do open in my own account, because it'll probably be useful for you to have this program in your own account. It's probably going to become, something that you might want to reference later on. So we're going to go ahead and finish this one. And again, you can finish along with me if you'd like. So what we're going to do is we're going to define a function called prizes. And this function is going to take in a parameter called score. Because right now, this program code does have a variable called score. And down here, it is adding to the score every single time they get something correct. So I can use this variable score as my parameter in order to make this whole thing work. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a couple of lists. So we're going to create a list of regular prizes. And so to create a list in Python, we use the square brackets. And let's go ahead and type in just a couple of really basic things that somebody might want on spring break. So we'll say you can win sunscreen. You can win sunglasses. Actually, I think sunglasses is one word. And then we'll say you can also win a hat. All right, cool. So those are 3 things that you can win if you get 1 question right or 2 questions right. Well, let's also come up with some grand prizes, and these should be really nice prizes. So we're going to create a second list called grand prizes, and this one is going to include really nice stuff. So we'll say, all right, you can win $1,000. You can win maybe a plane ticket. And we'll say that you can win 2 jet skis. Not just 1 jet ski, 2 jet skis. Okay. So now we have 2 lists. And now we're just going to check, well, what was the person's score? So if score equals 0, we'll go ahead and print sorry, you don't win a prize. And that is done. Now we're going to check, we'll say L if score equals 1 or score equals 2. And now we're going to say, all right, well, if they scored 1 point or 2 points, what we want to do is we want to loop through this list of prizes, and we want to give them 1 prize if they scored 1, or we want to give them 2 prizes if they score 2. So I mentioned looping through that. So we're going to do a for x in range. And we're going to say for x in range of the score. Because if they score once, if they scored 1, we want to loop through this once. If they score twice, we want to loop through it twice. Now, what are we going to do each time we loop through? We're going to create a random number. So I'll say num equals random.randint. And it is going to be from 0 to the length of our list prizes. And I believe we have to put -1 on here in order to avoid getting an index out of bounds error. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to generate a random number, and then we're going to print U1A, and then we're going to add from our list prizes the index of whatever num ends up being. And that's how you do that. U1A prizes at num. So this is going to, again, if the score is 1, it's going to loop 1 time. It's going to generate a random number, and then it's going to take that number. It's going to pull something out of this list, and it's going to say U1A whatever. If the score is 2, then this is going to loop twice. It's going to generate a random number and say U1A something, and then it's going to generate another random number and say U1A something else. Now, finally, we just need to do a 1 if they get a score of 3. So we'll say L if, oh my gosh, score equals 3. And we're essentially going to do the exact same thing. We're going to loop through 3 times. And we're going to give them some nice prizes. But this time, our prizes are going to come from the grand prizes list. So for x in range of score, so 3 times, we're going to generate a random number from 0 to the length of, instead of prizes, let's put grand prizes, since we're working with our different list. And then we will say U1A, instead of prizes, it's got to be from grand prizes. And just like that, we have now defined a function. This function includes a parameter. It also includes selection, and it includes a couple of loops. On top of that, this function also includes a list, and that list is an important part of how it works. So we have, in just a few lines of code, we have now completed everything that the College Board is asking us to do, except we need to make sure that we call the function. You can't just define the function, you have to make sure that you call it. So down here, after they answer all of their questions, we're going to go ahead and call the function prizes, and we are going to pass in our score as our variable, and as our parameter here, and we should now be able to run this, and this will not only ask our questions, but it should give us some prizes. So let's test it out. We'll say, okay, alcohol, and then we'll intentionally get a couple things wrong. There you go. You won a hat. I got 1 correct answer, and I won a hat. Let's try doing 2 correct answers. So alcohol, 5, and then just some gibberish. And you won sunglasses. You won sunglasses. Okay, the grammar's a little bit funny, but whatever. It works. Now let's try getting all 3 of them correct. So alcohol and 5 sunburns, and then finally the buddy system. And look at that, I won 3 grand prizes, $1,000, $2,000, 2 jet skis, no way. All right, so this is working, and this very simple program is all you need to score all of the points on your create task. As long as you understand how this program code works and you can describe these things, then you are good to go. So that was create task, program number 1. Let's go back to Classroom real quick and let's look at the second one that's posted there. And let's see, go here. So I also gave you simple create task number 2. Let's go ahead and open this one and look at what this one looks like. And all right, so for this one, we have what's called the Spring Break Packer program. And let's see, let's go ahead and run it. Welcome to the Spring Break Packer program. This program will let you add items to your suitcase and record the weight of each item entered as a decimal. Once you've finished adding items and their weight, this program will tell you whether or not the suitcase is too heavy for the airport, or in other words, whether it is over 50 pounds. It says, get ready to enter your items. So what are you packing? I'm packing a hat. And how much does it weigh? We'll say, I don't know, maybe 1.5 pounds. Do you have more items? Yes, I do. Now I am packing 5 shirts. How much does it weigh? We'll say 10 pounds. I'm just estimating here, who knows? We'll say yes, one more. What item are you packing? How about my laptop? And my laptop will say is 15.5 pounds. And now I'll say I'm done packing. So here's what you have packed: a hat, 5 shirts, and a laptop. So right now this just lets me type stuff in and record, what it weighs, but that's it. Now let's look at what it has. It has a couple of lists, so we've got that going for us. And here's a little welcome message. Here is our while loop that says while pack more is true. Go ahead and see what they want. And we are appending the items list. Every time I type in a new item, it's appending that into that list. And then every time I type in a weight, I'm storing it as a float since I'm asking for decimals. And that is stored as the variable item weight, and we are appending the list item weights with that particular item. Then we're asking, do you have more things to pack? And we're controlling our while loop depending on what they say. So it looks to me like we have everything we need, except once again, we don't have a function. So we do need to add a function. That function needs to have a loop, and it needs to use selection in order to score all the points. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go up here after we have our 2 lists, and we are going to define a new function, and it'll be called check weight. And what it's going to do is we're going to pass in our list of weights as the parameter. And what this is going to do is it's going to calculate what's the total weight of our suitcase, and then it's going to check whether or not it's over the limit. So the way we would do that is we're going to need to loop through all of our weights, and we're going to need to add them together, which means we're going to need a total. So we need to create a variable for that. So I'll say suitcase weight equals 0. And now we need to loop through our list of weights. And the way we do that in Python is we say for each weight in our list called weights, colon. So I type in for weight in weights, but in my head, the way I think of it is for each weight in my list of weights, what I need to do is I need to say suitcase weight equals suitcase weight plus each individual weight. So for every weight that I've got in my list of weights, I'm taking my variable suitcase weights and I'm adding them to it. All right. Now that will calculate the total weight of my suitcase. I've got a loop. Now I just need to add my selection. So I will say if suitcase weight is greater than 50, print your suitcase is, too heavy for the airport. All right, and then I'm just going to put an else in here because if the suitcase weight is not greater than 50, that means it must be less than or equal to. So if a simple else statement here will work. So in all other cases, we're going to go ahead and say your suitcase is good to go. Okay, and then of course, we've defined the function, but we still have not yet called it. So let's go to the bottom of our program code, and let's go ahead and call this function check weight. And this, we're going to pass in the list called weights. All right, well, with all of that, and again, just notice how short and sweet this program is. It's a fairly simple one. It only has one function. And again, this function includes it has parameters. Depending on what those parameters are, will kind of impact our selection here. We've got our loop. So we've got everything that the College Board is asking us to have. We should now be able to go ahead and run this program, and it should work for us. So let's try it out. We're going to say I'm packing a hat. Come on, man. There we go. And my hat weighs 1.5 pounds. Yes, I've got more. I am packing 5 shirts. And I believe we said that weighed 10.5 pounds. Yes, I'm now going to pack my laptop. And we'll say my laptop weighs 15 pounds. And we'll say no. All right, here's what you have packed. It's got my contents of my suitcase, and it says your suitcase is good to go. Let's test it one more time, this time with some heavy stuff. So I will say I'm packing my laptop, and it weighs, let's say I have a really heavy laptop, it weighs 25 pounds. Yes, we have more. Let's see, I'm also packing 15 books. I'm going to read a lot of books on spring break. And we'll say that this weighs 30 pounds. They're huge books. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and say no, I don't have to pack anything else. Here's what you have packed, a laptop and 15 books. Your suitcase is too heavy for the airport. So it worked, all right? And just like that, we have 2 simple programs that help people solve some kind of problem that they are likely to encounter while on spring break. And so from this point on, what I want you guys to think about is your own create tasks. What are some potential problems that students encounter every single day? Or what are some potential problems that teenagers encounter every single day? And can you come up with a program concept that would maybe ask some questions and then maybe use some lists? Or maybe it's going to use a function that is going to maybe loop through those lists. But you now have 2 fairly simple programs that show you how to do everything that the College Board needs you to do on your create task. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better about the whole situation. All right, thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in class.